sketch made up about approximately, it's nowhere near up to scale, but it's approximately where, if we did where the patient was set.
There's only one copy.
That's all right.
These are, I think most of them.
The daily law.
Yeah, I think of most of them. And oh, and the Peter books, I couldn't print out the lots, but most of them should be on there.
Okay. These would be the final versions of the daily logs.
They should be, like mine, sometimes I resave it and it takes a long day, so. But all the final versions are posted.
Where is this? Where are the policies? Is it?
Yeah. Okay. I'll set it over here.
Officers, if you could step forward, please. The select board would just like to address you as a department. First of all, I think the select board wants to acknowledge that as a department, you've been subject to a lot of stress and disorder in the past few months, given what's happened with the recent issues of Chief Sabota. And we want to let you know that we understand that, okay? I didn't call you here today to say you weren't doing your jobs, all right? I came here because, first of all, I want the community to really see everybody who's on the police department, and you all look great in your uniforms. Thank you. And, you know, okay. And I think, you know, as a unit, uniforms are important, that you all wear the same uniform when on active duty, so people recognize that you're an Ashfield police officer. They'll start to recognize you by face and know who you are. One of the things that we want to do as a select board is make sure that we're all on the same page at this point. The community and the select board anticipate and expect that you'll maintain the peace in our community and that you'll protect the health, safety, and welfare of the members of this community. I think all of you took an oath and all of you are working hard to do that. A couple of you are pretty new, and I know this is your first experience in law enforcement, and I apologize that you came onto the department when all this was going on. It probably should have been a much easier transition and learning experience for you. And I have to say I respect you for hanging in there and sticking with it, because I think you'll be stronger officers as a result of it. One of the things that we expect as a select board is that you'll execute your duties judiciously and professionally, that you'll show everybody in this town, every citizen of this community, the same acumen of respect as if you were addressing a superior officer. That's what people need to know in this community, that we all realize you're given special policing powers. You're given powers that no one else has in our community. You're given powers of arrest, you're given powers of search and seizure. These are all rights that people fight tooth and nail to protect. And they anticipate that a police force, when executing those powers, will do so with discretion and with respect. I think that's all you're trying to do. I understand that. I see you out there. But there's certain things we want to make sure that this department, so we can make sure this department is back on track, and that everybody knows that this department is back on track, is that you perform your duties in accordance with the state law, which I anticipate you will, that you consider and you review and be familiar with all applicable town policies. I know you all went to the training that Donna McNichol. One of the things that we need to know is that each of you is familiar with the departmental policies that you have in place when it comes to everything from uniforms to motor vehicle, to cruiser use, to which reports you file, to maintaining your daily logs. So we're going to ask that no later than October 7th, that each of you, okay, let us know in writing that you've reviewed all your departmental policies and that you understand them. Okay, if you have any questions upon your review, you know the chain of command. You can ask your sergeant, what does this policy mean? Let there be no question in your mind what policies control your behaviors while you're an Ashfield police officer. The only way to do that is for us to know that you've read and you understand those policies. So if a question comes up, that's not an issue we have to address.
Can I just add something there? I could actually run downstairs and get you the signed receipt of acknowledgement of having already received department policies and procedures. You receive those about, 30 days? No, not even, probably a week after appointment, and they sign a receipt of that. They have a take-home copy of that also to review, and also there's several copies in the cruiser and in the station, so.
And these are the policies that were approved by the select board?
Yes.
Okay, these are, what was that, they should be, 2005?
No, I think those policies were in place before I started.
Okay.
And when I had went to the board, I think in May of this year, it was because those are so generic and really not edited at all. So that's why the new policies were provided, so that we could be really uniform and
Well,
appropriate.
what I want is, I want the officers to have a copy of the policies that were submitted to the board and approved by the board according to the procedures, okay?
That's what they have.
These were not presented to the board by the chief of police at the time. I don't think we ever approved these because they hadn't been submitted to us by the chief.
Nope, that's what I was referring to, was before I was on the department, those had already been submitted and approved.
These?
Yes.
Okay, so do you remember what year that was?
Before I started, I don't
Okay.
know, there is no review or,
There's
no date on there,
All
so.
right. So what, you've all gotten a copy of this. What we need is not just that you've received them, but you've read them.
And understood, and will
And
continue
understood.
to review them. We already have that downstairs.
All right, good.